Good evening. I'm out in the van again today. I've come out to the South Hams to do a bit of landscape photography down at Westcombe Bay. Before I go down there though, I'm going to do a bit of a vlog about the van. I'm going to do a few down here beforehand, one about the alarm, and also try and get a kind of 2017 picture / van travel review type vlog, a year in a van type thing. But first of all, I'm going to get a bit of vlog done about things to take, or 5 tips when you're going on holiday in the van. So we just come back from Europe. We went there for a month. We went to Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, and had one night in France as well. There's just 5 things and tips for when you're traveling abroad in the van. So number 1, things to take abroad for the law. So when you travel to Europe, you're going to need a few things to avoid getting points, fines, whatever it is if you get pulled over by the police. Number 1 thing is a high-vis jacket. You're going to need one of these for every person on board. They're not expensive. You can get them in kits which cover all of this stuff, to be honest, but this, if you're like me, you just grab something from work. You will need a high vis on the vehicle at all times, and it does state that they should be somewhere quite accessible, so chuck it in your boot or something like that, or in the van, chuck it in a cupboard or something. I keep most of my stuff under the front seat. Because there was 2 of us abroad, we obviously had 2 of these, so bear in mind, high vis. Next one, you need a warning triangle. This is a cheap one I bought off the internet just before I went away. Yeah, there's nothing more than that really. It folds out if you break down. It's cheap and nasty. It costs, I think that costs something like stupid, like £3 off Amazon. The other thing, you will need your V5 logbook. Some people are scared at keeping these in the vehicle. But it clearly states in the front of them, this document is not evidence, or not proof of ownership, sorry. If you get pulled by some of the police abroad, from what I hear, the French and the Italian police are quite bad at fining people. There's a good chance they will fine you if you don't have this on you, or get into all sorts of problems. So make sure you stick the V5 in the glove box before you go away. A few other things. If obviously we drive on the left hand side in the UK, you're going to need some light converters. They're only about a 5 or a 10 or a pack. They're 2 little stickers you stick on the front of your lights. In the T5, the kit I bought, which was quite a well-known company that sell them, I can't remember the name. The kit that came didn't have instructions for the T5, so you had to go on the internet and download the latest instructions. 2 little stickers, round little stickers, you stick them on the front headlights, 2-minute job and it's done. Stops glaring other people when you're there. Some countries now, like France, I expect there's plenty of other ones, they have kind of congestion charges. So I know Paris, there's a few other cities in France that do it. If you're going to travel to those countries, you need a sticker, not countries, sorry, cities. You need a sticker for the front of your van which displays its emission band. I didn't go anywhere near cities when I was there really. I didn't go to Paris or anywhere like that, so I didn't bother getting a sticker. They're only a few pounds. You can buy them off the French website and they send them to you and you print them out and stick them on. I think you get fined if you don't have one, but do your research. It's a bit like the congestion charges in London, for instance. It's just done a bit of a different way. You've got to buy stickers and stuff like that. Another thing, before you go away, look into it. When I went away, it wasn't actual law. In other words, it can actually fine you over it. But in France, they want you to have a breathalyzer kit on board. You can buy them before you go away. I didn't bother because they're about £10. And the law at the time I travelled, and I think it's still the same, was that you can get pulled over and you can get given a warning for not having one, but it's not enforceable, so they can't fine you or arrest you or give you any points They just give you a verbal warning, and it can't go any further than that. So I didn't bother. But yeah, if you're going to really worry about it, get one of those kits as well. Right, another thing is spare light bulb kit, which I do have on the van, but I've not found it to show you. Basically, you've got to have a spare light bulb kit in, I think, most of Europe. Again, otherwise, if you stop by the police, they'll fine you. It doesn't matter if the bulbs don't even fit your van, to be honest, or car. A lot of the kits you buy, there's only tends to be one or two of the bulbs out the kits that ends up fitting. You just need to have a spare light bulb kit. So yeah, if you can get one where it all fits your van, happy days, it's safer. But if you've just got a general kit, make sure you take it. Right, number 2. Apart from the things to do with the law, obviously make sure your van is geared up for most situations or any kind of thing that goes wrong. So first thing I did when I got this van was go out and buy some jump leads. These have still got the price on them. They're a whole £6.50. They're not amazing jump leads. They're probably not going to be that great to start a big engine, but you know, if you got them on for 20 minutes charging the engine, it will fire it up. So they're going to work a lot better than if you don't have any. Stuff like that. A jack. Most T5s, as far as I know, came with a jack on the back wheel arches down here. Any converted van, they're going to go missing, and that includes camper vans, builders putting kind of wood lining in them, or electricians. Any kind of general van is probably going to lose a jack. So you've got a perfectly good spare wheel under the back of the van. Make sure you have something you can jack the van up with and change it yourself. Even if you're a member of the AA or breakdown cover, it's just easier to do it yourself if you can. I am a member of the AA here, but abroad it was about £180 for a one-off, and about £200 for 12 months of cover, and that's just far too expensive to do just for something I'm potentially going to be there for 2 months of the year or something. So I do travel without breakdown insurance, or breakdown cover, sorry. So make sure you've got the stuff to make up for it. This is a jack. It's not even for this van. This is off a Ford Transit. It's a bit of a beast of a jack. It can easily jack this van and change the wheel. I've done it before. I've used it a few times in the van already. So make sure you've got the jack. And it goes without saying, make sure you've got a wheel brace. Obviously, I have used this, but you can tell it's new. It's still got the cardboard on it. So I bought this just before I went to Europe as well. Other things, a lot of these vans now are starting to get quite old. They do start to use a bit of oil. This one's not too bad. It normally needs one top up between a change. So it doesn't really use any at all, to be honest. But yeah, take some oil. You never know when you're going to run out of oil. These are pretty good vans, the T5s. They give you an early warning light, so you can top up well before any damage is done. But that doesn't mean that light's working. It doesn't mean the bulb isn't gone, and it doesn't mean that the system or the sensors aren't broken. So check your oil and keep a bottle spare all the time. Another thing to consider is what kind of gas you're going to be using. So in England, you can get Cala gas everywhere. In the UK, you can get Cala gas everywhere. There's another company called Camping Gas. You can get them a few places in the UK. Luckily, there's a place about 2 miles down the road from me I can get it. But in Europe, it's opposite. So it's really hard to find Cala in Europe, but it's really easy to find camping gas. So I've got camping gas in this van. It does mean that if it wasn't for the store down the road from me, it would be a bit more of a pain to get my gas. But what it also means is that when I'm abroad, I don't have to be worrying about, oh, do I have enough gas in the bottle? I don't have to dig it out and shake it and see how much is left or anything like that. I can literally just jump in the van, go, and if I run out of gas abroad, I can just look on the internet, and 5 miles away there'll probably be somewhere I can get gas. So yeah, if you go into Europe, consider getting some camping gas, because you're going to be able to get it more easily than the camping gas, sorry, the Cala gas you can get in the UK. So, right, number 3. This one's all about food, really, and items to take. Don't be selfish. Don't go to a country and just not eat any of their food or go to any of their restaurants, because you are missing out on a bit of the experience, and you're not really putting too much back into the country's economy. But part of travelling abroad, especially if your main reason going abroad is for photography, a lot of that cost will be food. generally speaking, and I'm not going to say this is accurate for everywhere, but generally speaking, the food we get in the UK in our supermarkets is pretty cheap. I think we do have one of the cheapest food sources we can go to and buy food at. So Switzerland's expensive, Italy's expensive as well, in my opinion. It might be better food, that's down to your opinion, but it is more expensive than buying some of the food we can get over here. It obviously depends what that country's main produce is. I mean, it sounds stupid to say it, but cheese is relatively cheap in France, you know, stuff like that goes. But generally speaking, if you can just buy a lot of your food in the UK before you travel, you will save money. If you're going to places like Scandinavia, it's a no-brainer. Scandinavia is an expensive country to go to, food-wise. So yeah, do your research, and if you can get by just going to a few restaurants in the different countries and then cooking out the van the other time you're there, take food with you, because it will work out cheaper abroad. Same with alcohol. The only place we went to which I'd definitely say is cheaper than the UK is probably Luxembourg. Luxembourg, alcohol cheap, and their fuel is very cheap. It was €1 a litre in Luxembourg when we were there. Again, that's another thing. Fuel isn't as cheap abroad as it used to be with the way the euro and the pound's gone. It's probably worthwhile you trying to fill up before you leave. It's not going to get you very far. You're still going to run out of fuel when you're abroad. But don't go on an empty tank thinking it's going to be cheaper there, because it won't be. It's probably going to work out cheaper to get your fuel in the UK and go from that. Yeah, so just to sum up that point, really, it's just, you know, do a bit of research. Some things are cheaper to get in the UK than abroad. Take what you can take with you if it's going to make your life easier, save you money. Various things like that. There are also various camping things you can get before you go abroad. I don't have my wallet on me now, but there's I'll flash a picture of the card up. There's a camping card club we joined, for instance. Make sure you join these camping card clubs early, because often they're headquartered in Europe, like you'd expect. Ours came from Holland, and they have to send you the card before you go abroad. So make sure you order them a few weeks in advance. But we used a card which gives us a lot of discount if you go off peak. And some of the campsites we were going to, we were saving, like, paying half of what you would normally if you were going there during peak times, or the advertised price when we were there. So look into camping card clubs, stuff like that. Anything you can do to kind of make your life easier and cheaper. The one we used, the app was so good for it that we didn't even bother looking up on like things like TripAdvisor, that's the right one. I didn't want to buy a house, TripAdvisor, before we went away, or when we were there, because it's such a good app. It showed us all the campsites on the discount club. There's literally thousands of them abroad, and they all had really good reviews, write-ups, comments. You could click on a map and see the closest ones to you, the pictures there. Really, really good app and card. I'll flash it up, and I'll put a link to the company in the description. I'm not affiliated with them at all. It just made our life so much easier. When I'm away doing photography, I tend to wild camp in the van, so I'm not really on a campsite. But when we had 10 days or whatever it was holiday in Italy and driving back, we were in campsites every night. Apart from one or two were in a hotel. So yeah, and it made our life so much easier. Just to flick up a phone, flick up an app, just plan it within 10 minutes. That's where we're going, and it was just easy like that. So yeah, that's another thing to check out. Right, number 4, camping. So wild camping, more like, and locations and apps. I've already just talked quickly about one app. There's another app which I'll put in the description, which it is just, I can't remember what it's called. It's like free spaces or free campsites or something like that it's called. It's a community run app. So people go to places, they look at the signs, they see whether you can camp there or not, they see if you've got to pay any money, and they all put them on a map, and you get icons which tell you it's free, icons which tell you got to go there and pay the landlord. It might be a pub, car park or something. You get some sites where you it's the council run car parks or the town run car parks, but if you pay £10 you can stay overnight, or some of them are even free, a bit like the airs in France. Belgium has a lot of airs now as well, so you can camp for free in Belgium a lot of places. But it's a really good app, so even in Switzerland where it's quite hard to wild camp, there are car parks it shows which you can do it at. I spent 3 or 4 nights, something like that, in Switzerland, and I exclusively use this app to find those. The one in Belgium, a few in Italy. Yeah, really good app. So I'll put that in there. Again, I'm not affiliated to them, and the only issue I found with it is it doesn't. It's in a different language to the UK. It doesn't auto translate it. So some of it you have to click on the comments, translate it yourself, or there's a little thing in the app to translate it, but you can only at the moment I think translate the comments and not the description of the site. So it's not the easiest to use sometimes, but it's really cool app considering it's free. And yeah, I'll put the link in the description, and check it out. Wildcamping, I've touched on a bit. France is full of airs. A lot of the airs there now seem to be truck stops, but if need be you can camp in an air overnight. There's loads of them up there. Belgium's got free airs as well, like I said. A few of the airs in Belgium, I'm not sure about France, I expect it's the same, but they actually have them at almost like our National Trust properties. They allow you to stay one night in the car park, because I think what they hope is the next day you'll then pay to go in and look at the house and the exhibit. So there's one in Belgium I stayed at, which was literally mine. Big car park, really nice facilities. They had electric hookup if you wanted it for £1 a night or €1 a night. Yeah, really, really cool place. Considering it's free, I mean, you can't really complain about it. It's brilliant. Germany's fine, loads of free places to camp. Switzerland again is difficult, but more difficult, but it's doable. So yeah, wild camping, literally don't worry about it. Get out there, find somewhere, pull up. They don't have the freedom to roam laws that Scandinavia or Scotland have, so you're gonna have to be a bit savvy where you go. Don't just park in a town, don't go parking by someone's house or on their drive or anything stupid like that. But generally speaking, as long as you're out of the way, causing no issues, you can just park up and you should be fine. Right, number 5, laws. Obviously each country's got its laws, different laws, and I'm going to mainly just be talking about driving laws, so and roads and things like that. I went all the way to the Dolomites, back to Stelvio Pass, all the way across the bits of Europe to get there. So France, Belgium, Germany, Switzerland obviously, and I didn't go on a single toll road. When I then drove from the Stelvio Pass down to Naples, it was 13 hours drive, which I did on one day, on the normal roads, or 9 hours on the toll roads. So toll roads I then pretty much used from that point onwards, because some of the smaller roads in Italy are pretty bad. They're just a bit worn out. You can't complain about their toll roads though. They're really good, efficient roads. The speed limit there is about 84 miles an hour. They're fast, they're quick, they're efficient. You can get on and off them easy, but they do add up. So my 9-hour journey from Stelvio Pass to Naples cost me €65. So, and at the time that worked out about £60. So they are expensive roads. And you tend to want to motor on them as well, because you're trying to make the most of them and make up the time. So you're doing like 84 miles an hour, and then you're using loads of fuel doing it, and you don't get to see as much of the country. So my advice is, if you can stay off the toll roads, stay off them. But if you need to be somewhere at a certain time, just jump on them. They're really good and efficient. Bear in mind, if you're going from the UK, there's a different kind of etiquette to being on the roads to here. So for instance, I think most people in the UK would agree, if you're going down a motorway or dual carriageway, or even the smaller roads, and you start indicating to pull out and somebody flashes you, unless it's like a long aggressive flash, it generally means that they're telling you you can go. That's generalising a lot, but I think that's what I think and the people I've spoken to think. Don't do that in Europe because it means I'm coming, don't go in front of me, get out my way. So literally, just unless it's clear, don't go. Some of the autobahn roads, there's no speed limit on, and in a camper van, unless you are going to overtake someone straight away, just don't go in the fast lane unless you can see a good mile back because people come motoring down them. Apart from that, they're fine roads, really good, really built really well. Yeah, so they are more expensive and the cost is higher. But when I was in Switzerland, there are speed cameras there, but I didn't see one. Well, I hope that means I haven't got a ticket. I haven't got one yet. Didn't see one in France. I know they are there. Belgium, didn't see one. When I came to Northern Italy, though, every couple of 100 metres in the towns, there's speed cameras. They're orange boxes. I didn't know what they were to start off with. They're orange boxes about the size of a post box beside the road. They do stand out, but I didn't know there were cameras for a while. Some of the speed limits in the towns are 20 kilometres an hour, which is so slow. That's like to a UK person, that's like 12 miles, 13 miles an hour, and it's just ridiculously slow. But yeah, watch out for them. You don't have to go past lines to get a ticket with them. As soon as they see you, you'll get a ticket. So yeah, just be very careful. There's no lines like in the UK to look out for on the road. You just got to make sure you're sticking in your speed limits all the time, which obviously you're going to do anyway. It's just when you're looking at a different speedo that you're trying to look at the miles, kilometers per hour, which is smaller, and you're in a new place and all stuff like this. On the other side of the road, it's quite easy to kind of do stuff that, you know, exceed it at points and stuff like that. The other things, their speed limits. So they have this thing, if it's raining, their speed limits will reduce. So I think most of Europe's like it. So the 150 kilometers an hour, I think it is, toll roads go to 130, and the 130 more minor roads go to like 110 when it's raining. So just bear in mind that they do have a variable speed limit. Right, one of the other laws is that I noticed when I was there is there's laws like in Switzerland where you can't leave your engine running when you're stopped and parked up. So I was pumping the tyres up when I was there and I had the engine running, and there was 2 policemen that pulled over and had a word with me. They're perfectly fine, they're just telling me the rules. So you just kind of apologise and switch your engine off. But they knew why I was doing it, to stop it flattening the battery. But there are rules that we don't have there, like, you know, you can't leave your engine running when you're not in the van and things like that, or when you're parked up. So just bear in mind that there are different rules and laws in different countries, and you need to spend a good 10 minutes, 20 minutes before you go away just researching them all. Right, I'll end this section on driving on the wrong side of the road. Nah, joking, obviously. Driving on the other side of the road. Obviously in the UK we drive on the left, in Europe they drive on the right. Now I was quite worried about this when I went away, because I went away on my own until Alice flew over and met me there, and I was quite worried, and I thought it would be quite daunting to just get off the ferry at night and then just head straight to the wrong side of the road. But it was so second nature, it's so easy. If you're that worried, just try and follow someone else off the ferry for like a few minutes, and then every roundabout I saw for a long time, good couple of hours outside of Calais, has signs telling you which way to go, arrow signs, and they make a real thing of trying to show you it's this way. And in the end, it becomes quite difficult for you to even be on the wrong side of the road. So all the time I was away, I didn't have a single problem or issue. It's just second nature. I was more worried about coming back to the UK after I've been there for a while, and then going on the right side of the road. So it's weird how your brain just kind of clicks and does it. So literally don't worry about that. Other small things, don't worry about the language barrier. No matter how good other languages, you know, how much kind of other languages you learnt, they're really good with their English in Europe. Obviously try and learn a bit of different language. You know, don't be arrogant, try and show a bit of respect and learn some of their language. But generally speaking, most people are easy to get on with, talk to, and they make your life as easy as they can when you're there. So That's pretty much all the 5 things really. They're not necessarily tips, or well, some of them are just kind of like my experience there, but for people that haven't been away and done it before, hopefully it'll just give a bit of my reasoning and you can understand my point of view on it really. So and if you're worrying what to take and things like that, hopefully it'll help. If I've forgotten anything to put in the video, I'll write it up on the screen, or I'll put it in the description like that. Any other thing, the only other thing is obviously you're in a van, you have limited space, you're going to be living either on your own or with someone else, you're going to be living in close quarters. Although most of your day is spent outside or driving, the time you're going to have in here, you're going to want to be as organised as you can get, just to make life easier and less frustrating for yourself. So yeah, just storage, tidy, be organised. When I go away for landscape photography, I tend to plan a lot. I'm pretty bad at planning a lot of stuff in my life, but with photography I will sit down and plan it, just because it's hard enough trying to find locations, let alone at the right time, the right light, with the right weather, in England, let alone when you're abroad. So when I went to Wales, I did it on a map. When I went to Scotland, the last 2 times I've been to Scotland, I've done it on a like a spreadsheet in a kind of notebook. So yeah, make sure you plan not just what you're taking, what you're going to photograph if that's the reason you're going abroad, stuff like that. Just make your life easier really.